Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of JQLM Radio's Community Corner with your girl, Lady J, right here on JQLM Radio, a division of Ego Entertainment Network. And this is another special edition of JQLM Radio's Community Corner. It's the re-up edition, y'all. Yes, we got quite a few people that's gonna be coming on talking about their nomination for the re-up experience, the inaugural national re-up experience. I am so excited to launch this year. We had people from all over the nation, 25 people nominated, and 12 of them responded and accepted their nominations on time. So I'm excited to be interviewing my next guest, who I have had the pleasure of following for quite some time. And let me tell y'all, she is a force to be reckoned with. But before we get into that, of course, we must get those formalities out of the way. So if this is your first time tuning in and you would like to share with your family, friends, and followers on all the different ways that they can as well, this is how. If this is your first time tuning into the show or to JQLM Radio and you would like to share with your family, friends, and followers on all the different ways that they can tune in, be sure to tell them to download the JQLM Radio app on their Apple or Android devices. You can also listen live to JQLM Radio 24/7, 365 via Amazon Alexa, TuneIn app, the Stream and Simple Radio app, and a host of other platforms of which you can find located on our website, where you can also listen live at egoentertainmentnet.com. Also, don't forget to follow, like, and share us. We do follow back. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at JQLM Radio. You can also connect with Ego Entertainment Network at EgoEntNet. That's EgoEntNet on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter also. Also, connect with us on LinkedIn at Ego Entertainment Network. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our YouTube channel, Ego TV Network, at youtube.com/Ego TV Network. All right. So now that you know how to tune in and follow, like, and share us, okay? And we do follow back. It's time for me to introduce my guest. So today's guest is none other than Ms. Danyette Smith. She is the founder and president of Silent No More. All right. And was founded right here in the city of Indianapolis, Indiana. And I'm gonna let her tell you about the organization, but she's also a nominee this year. Has been nominated for Nonprofit of the Year for the ReUP experience. So let's go ahead and welcome her to the show. So, Danyette, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a pleasure having you here. I'm excited that you are here, that we finally get to connect once again. It's been ever for me to be able to talk to
Yes.
everybody. Because pre-pandemic, of course, I had the brain aneurysm, and then pandemic hit, so ain't nobody seen nobody
At
a
all.
long time. But it looks like, a lot of you, which is why you all were nominated, have just picked up where you left off and just hit the pavement running. So with it, can you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from, what you do, and what you like to do in your spare time?
Definitely. So first, I want to thank you for having me on the show. Also, being a nominee, I don't take it for granted. Super honored. Danyette Smith, founder and president of Silent No More. That was something from me being who I am, domestic violence. I'm going through domestic violence for 10 years. I just was lonely and lost in places needed and all the it was just really linked on me to try to push myself and persevere through it. And then once I got out of it, I just remembered those words and became who I needed. So today with Silent No More, we're it's an agency that the service provides. So when Silent No More first originally started, it was an education and prevention organization. So we literally would go into schools, centers, church that would allow us to come in and educate on domestic violence. Once of course, everything shut down. We knew that there were individuals who are still needing the services, as far as what, let's say, some of our shelters provided. And that's when I was able to link with the shelters and link with some other agencies and was like, okay, what's needed? And we knew that everything was half of what it was. So those shelters and things, it was. So I was like, we still help. The schools are shut down. Nobody's letting you into no buildings.
Right.
You really can't touch nobody. What can we do?
Right.
So that's when we were like, okay, let's be different. So I was able to say that the shelters were closed, or the shelters weren't closed, but they were fully staffed and they were fully occupied. Shall I say, beds were cut in half. So we
Right.
took it upon to say, okay, well, we'll shelter placement. We already knowledge of what it takes domestic violence. There were still families, there were still individuals who were being abused and they needed a way out, but calling and saying, we're full, we can't take you. It
Right.
just kept them there. So we started putting women and men, but it was mainly women because men rarely call, to emergency. Literally would have a relationship with hotels then
Mhm.
around the city, and we were able to provide 30 days stay with that wraparound services, making sure that they have those nutrition and those cars. And these weren't hotels that were just, okay, you have a room and a microwave. Like, we wanted to make sure that they still had that family style while being misplaced in an environment. And so once we were able to win, started to really recognize as a need.
Right.
And we continue to do the work. As far as when school started letting people out, we went virtual, of course. So
Mhm.
we were
Mhm.
doing virtual trainings. And then we kind of got to where we are today. So not only is it education and prevention, it's also servicing. So we mainly do that servicing of providing that emergency shelter for those who are fleeing. That's you questions,
Yeah.
right? So I do, you said, what am I doing now? So because I am the founder and president, I don't work in Silent No More. Of course, I still have a
Right.
voice in it,
Mhm.
but I don't work in Silent No More. So I am the director of the city's program, which is the Indie Champions for Domestic Violence Prevention.
Mhm.
Indianapolis did not have violence in came to our city.
Mhm.
We were dependent on other agencies to do all the work,
Mhm.
even though we as a city sit with the data and we sit with really much all the resources, the
Mhm.
funding.
Right.
So the city recognized once we got to 180% increase on deaths related to domestic violence
Mhm.
that we needed something.
Right.
And that I was putting forth, knowing that I'm doing it, genuinely with a heart, with compassion, could care less about a title. I'm literally being
Right.
who I am. That's when they were like, we want you. Like, we just want you. Like, I'm like, little old me. I'm like, are you sure? I started questioning myself, like, are you sure you got the right person? Like, she been over here doing this for 30 years. You
Yeah.
sure you don't want that individual? And because we were so boots on the ground in the community felt Silent No More and knew that, they can call us for just about anything. I think they knew that that's what our city needed.
Right.
So, I accepted the position. And I mean, I've been building the program since January. Really a streamlined service for domestic violence resources. So
Mhm.
we, if someone is needing domestic violence resources, instead of them calling, let's say 211, and 211 gives them a whole list of who
Mhm.
they can call us, and we can do that intake and say, okay, this is the agency
Right.
that would be best for you. And then we can streamline them there instead of calling an agency. They do a full intake, re-traumatize themselves just for at the end of that phone call, the agency say, okay, we can't help
Right.
you. Call
Right.
this
Absolutely.
number. And then from there, we're still boots on the ground. So we wanted to make sure that no matter where I go in life, I always want to make sure that I am reachable to the community.
Mhm.
So we're still boots on the ground, building relationships with organizations, apartments, businesses, to where they know that, even though you are a business, even though you are an apartment, there are people that are still suffering, whether it's your coworker or whether it's, one of your residents. We want to make sure that you have that information. And then, we do something that the city didn't have. Our Marion County or Indianapolis agencies were not getting together to know what each other is doing. We were all just doing. Some rooms I couldn't get in, let's say that. But thank you, guys. I'm in them rooms now.
Right.
But we weren't. So that was one of the main things that I wanted to do, was say, okay, we all need to sit at a table as agencies because we're doing the same work. And let's tell each other what we're doing. What resources do we have to make sure that we all know that even if we can't help one person, this agency can, or where's the lack at? Where is it where we can't help anybody? Where's that lack? So that way we can go back to the mayor and we can go back to the city and say, okay, we've all said, we all know that this is a need, and how can we get this need to better support those that are fleeing domestic violence? And then that last question is, what do I like to do? I like to travel.
Don't we all?
Right?
As long as we got the money.
As long as we got the hey, I ain't worried about the off days. I ain't worried about the money. Just book the trip. No, I'm just kidding. But I think that's my go-to because I'm at a place where when I'm in the city, I can't check out. I can't turn off, if that makes sense. Whether I do a staycation, I'm still on because I'm in the city. And I'm not meaning clocked in on. It's just that my mind is still on with doing more. So I literally have to remove myself from the state in order for me to be able to check out of work, check out of the kids with with my children, and just really self-care. So besides that, I love reading. I think I'm gonna be a student until I'm gone. So I love learning and reading, and then water is my go-to. So if I can work out near some water, if I can, take some hikes on Eagle Creek, like those are my go-to things. Besides, I have teenagers, so they're always, they're my little best friends. So they always in my pockets. They always in my mind.
Oh, I know.
All the things. So that's my daughters, and being able to have that self-care method. It's literally work. It's literally changing or helping somebody else.
Awesome, man. And it is definitely a much needed resource. I've worked with the Coburn Place and also I forget the other place downtown.
Julian Center.
The Julian Center, yes. Working with those women when I'm dealing with at-risk youth and stuff, those who are coming out of domestic violence. Those of us who are connected in the community with community service, you never know just how much lack there is, because it's difficult, especially to serve your own community, like the African American community, when you don't have people who look like us providing those services that can't really identify with where you are and what you're going through. So to have someone come in and not just provide those services to assist in transition, but also preventative care and preventative services, education and things of that sort are awesome. Those are much needed. And I cannot tell you how many young people I have talked to that have been incarcerated due to domestic violence at 12 and 13 years old. Like, what do you know about hitting on somebody or trying to stab somebody, I'm saying, that you're in a relationship with? And that just goes to show that why education is so important for adults and children. Education, not just about domestic violence, but first and foremost on how to address trauma, which is why I love, working in what I do with bounce backology, teaching people how to build healthy relationships, because you can't be in relationship with other people when you don't know who you are because then you just accept anything and you don't, recognize flags and things of that sort. So domestic violence is a very real thing. I was a child who grew up in domestic violence and a woman who has experienced domestic violence. So it affects all parties involved.
Definitely.
And the children suffer the most. So that is definitely something that is needed in the community. So I commend you for that.
Thank you.
Also, you were nominated. You received your official letter from ReUP. You were
Yes.
nominated for Nonprofit of the Year. So tell me, what was that like?
It was super exciting. It was because you don't do this work for a nomination. You don't do this work for your name call. I'm an introvert. You know, I just be in a community as an extrovert. I don't know how I do it. If I could do this work under a rock and still be able to save lives, I promise I would. But it was exciting because when you do get that nomination, feeling of okay, it's that fire, it's I would say it's the lighter fluid to the fire. So even though you have the fire, even though that fire is burning, that lighter fluid just blazes it more. So it was that lighter fluid, because there are times in the nonprofit industry, you're not doing this for the pay. We know that. It's probably the less pay you can get in the world, but
Yep.
just being at a level of okay, this is great. I'm excited, but yet still humble
Right.
enough to know that okay, keep going. Keep going. This is
Right.
I want this to be a national thing, more Minneapolis thing.
Absolutely. And I think that, and that's why I think it was really important for us to come together to me and the whole, and I've been working on this. Okay.
Wow.
Nobody knew, because y'all know how I move. I move in stealth mode.
Yeah.
But and God said it was time, and everything just started falling in place. And I thought it was important for people to be recognized for what it is that they do. People need their flowers while they're here, and not saying that they like it's a requirement. When you are serving, you are doing from the heart.
Yes.
You are giving of yourself, your time, your talents, your gifts, your finances, everything.
Yes.
Your blood, sweat, and tears, because it's in you to give, because that's what God has purposed you to do. But with that, sometimes somebody saying congratulations, or we appreciate you, or patting you on the back, that helps that person refuel and keep going, and lets them know that what you're doing is needed. We see you, you know what I'm saying? We appreciate you. So I thought that was really, really important. And the pandemic was an added factor in people trying to, or struggling, I should say, and trying. So teaching people to bounce back from domestic violence, and trying to keep them from entering into that is very important, because the pandemic, man, there were a lot of people who were stuck in a home 24/7 with somebody. Can you imagine? You can get up and go to work and all that before the pandemic. At least you have a few hours away. But what about those who had to sit there 24/7 and not be able to escape that whatsoever? Those were the things that were going on during the pandemic. I thought it was important to recognize people like you, that provide those services and that help people bounce back and re-up, get their life back on track.
Yes, definitely. And the pandemic did something huge to me, because even though I was still helping, I was in my 6th year of Silent No More, and your girl funding, I was tapped out, and it had came to a place where I was ready to say, okay, maybe you need to, use them degrees and go another route.
Right.
And then, that a $30,000 grant just dropped on me. Like, they were like, here, you can have it. You don't have to apply for it. Like, we're handing this to you, unrestricted. And then that's when I was like, okay, God, this is you. I can't, you ain't letting me, you ain't leave this alone. And so much had happened to my children that it's not my story to be able to tell, that really could have took me out the game and allowed me and told me to just focus on this instead of that. But that heart, like you said, was in it, and when it's in your heart, there's you just can't turn it off. Like, it's gonna, even when you try to turn it off, it's gonna eat you up. It's gonna eat you up.
When you're a servant at heart, I'm telling y'all, it is the most difficult thing to turn off.
Yep.
I mean, I find myself, even if I'm on vacation or somewhere, and so I see somebody needing something, or somebody comes to me and asks me, and we get to talking, and then before you know it, we in a whole session. So I know. So now that you have the nomination, and as I've said in all the other interviews, y'all, it's coming. I promise y'all, we are still on board, which is why we are going for it, doing all the things leading up to it. Tell me what is next for Danyette Smith and Silent No More, and then how can people support you and connect with you?
So, what is next for Danyette Smith? Next for me is continuing to pull our city at a level to where everyone knows that we have domestic violence resources available, and to know that it's okay to call. Really getting that education and prevention out everywhere and making it okay, even with the churches. We want to make sure that it's okay for us to be able to speak about this. So that's the main thing, is really amplifying the domestic violence services for my end on what I want to do. As far as Silent No More, the goal with Silent No More is to be able for it to operate at a place to where it'll be operational here, and then say I can go to another city where we this is huge, exact same thing, propose that exact same thing into another city, and have those resources there. So ultimately, Silent No More will be nationwide, to where they're reaching not only those in Indianapolis, but those who are all over the nation or the United States, that can know that those resources are available, and it's okay to speak up and get that help.
Awesome. Speak those things that are not as though they are.
Come on
It
now.
is so.
I see it.
It is so. So tell us, how can people support Silent No More? How can people support you and connect with you?
Yeah. So people can support Silent No More by going to the website. There is a donation link there, to where you can support. Those donations go to help house individuals in emergency shelter placement, as well as the things such as the nutrition card, or transportation, as well as hygiene, things of that nature. So you would be able to, that's like that main go-to. But another way you can help is literally contacting me and saying, hey, we want you in our organization to be able to do a lunch and learn, or to be able to teach our children. Like, that's the huge help. I can ask for money or monetary donations and things like that, but the huge help is us getting in front of our community more, and educating, and doing that prevention. How you can reach out is info@ silence, SILENT, no more inc.org. That's an email, or you can always give me a call, 463-426-9851. People be like, you put your number right here. I don't care. I'm trying to help. It ain't my personal, but you gonna reach me, I promise you.
Awesome. So, I mean, I just want to again commend you for what you're doing. Continue the work, because it is much needed. And this is a personal thing for you as well, because I know that you're a survivor of domestic violence. So y'all, we didn't get into that. We ain't got enough time for that. We're gonna have her on a different show for that. But so y'all can see the bounce back is real. Okay.
It's real.
And just like one of our nominees, also Miss Deandra Dykes, the name of her organization is Purpose for My Pain, and Miss Danyette, as well as myself and everybody else, is a testament to what they're doing and how their pain was turned into purpose.
Yeah, and let me say that no matter who wins this nonprofit this nomination, like, if she wins, I won.
Everybody wins.
If I won, she won, because we good like it. So it ain't even about that. It's literally about that recognition.
And let me just be clearer too. So for the ReUP experience, it's a whole experience and awards, but everybody that's nominated still gets a token of recognition as well, even though someone may actually win an award. So because everybody that was nominated is important, all the moving parts, but we all are one body, and every is necessary. It's important, even though each one does a different function. So we are all out here doing our part and putting in the work, and the time and the resources needed to help our communities and our people do better. So yeah, everyone is, I have to second that and piggyback off of that.
We are winners.
Absolutely. Like she said, when they win, she
we all win, because the community is winning
exactly.
by having us. So we good.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you could, what would you say to someone as we wrap up, your final thoughts? What would you say to someone who may be struggling to get out of a domestic violence situation, wants to, what would you say to that person?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell you to call me. That's the people. This question is a tricky question because most people be like, "I'm gonna tell you to call this agency," and I'm gonna tell you to call me because one, I want to give it to you in a way for you to understand that you're not alone in this. Because so many people think that they're alone. Nobody could be going through this. Call me. But if you can't call me, what I would say is try to reach out to this agency that you can reach out and just talk. Even if you or you just don't have that mustard seed to flee right away, call some way it can it because if it death situation and you've never said anything about it, then you can get in more trouble or you can end up dead. But ultimately I would say reach out to an advocate if you don't want to talk to me, because I promise you I'm gonna give you my story, you give me your story, and we gonna walk this thing. I'm gonna meet you right at your level and walk with you exactly where you are. Every agency can want to just get you where you need to go, but I want you to know that you have somebody that can hold your hand. I don't care if you and talk. I don't. Yeah, reach out to somebody who understands what domestic violence is, has those connections to get you the needs, because you may not need to flee, but you need that protection order, or you need assistance with housing because that abuser is no longer there. Like, there's resources in these states, and until you reach out to somebody, you just won't know, and you'll feel stuck.
Absolutely. And piggyback off of that too, I say men, resources are out there for you as
Yes.
well. Because we do know that there are women abusers.
Oh man.
There are a lot of women abusers. A lot of us see it on social media.
These teen girls.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I know firsthand.
Yes.
Working with firsthand. There are resources out there for you too. And don't be afraid to call her.
Yes,
or call
please.
anybody, pick up the phone. I promise you, people like Danyette will not judge you, will not think that you are less of a man. I will say that because men need to speak up as well.
Please speak up.
Men need to speak up as well.
We can't get more resources until y'all speak up more.
Yes, please do. So I definitely want to again for coming on and being on the show. I am so excited to have you to be a part of the ReUP experience and just to be able to feature you here on J.
Thank you.
For all of you that we thank you once again. We would not be who we are and where we are without you, our listeners. Make sure y'all continue to tune in and share this interview. If you know someone that is struggling or is in a domestic violence relationship, please reach out to Silent No More. It's Silent No More Inc.
Yep.
Silent No. Make sure that you all reach info at silentnomoreinc.com as well.
.org.
Oh, .org. .org, y'all.
Both .org. I'm sorry.
silentnomoreinc.org. Yeah. Okay. Sorry, not .com. So with that being said, again, thank you all. And stay tuned for our next JQLM Radio's Community Corner. Continue tuning in to your favorite show. And let y'all later. Hey, you have been tuned in to JQLM Radio's Community Corner right here on JQLM Radio, a division of Ego Entertainment Network.